Alright, my video ran out and I realized that I made an error. So this should be 3 times negative 2, which is negative 6. And negative 6 plus 5 is negative 1. So now I went up there and graphed that. So if we start at negative 1 and go up 3 over 1, get this line. And it does have the point 2,5. So there you go. Even I make mistakes, but it's important to, that's why I check my work. You can be really good at math and still make mistakes. It's just, you need to check your work. Alright, example 13. Write an equation for the line shown and draw a perpendicular line that goes through the origin. Write an equation for the line shown. Okay, easy enough. Usually when you want to write an equation, use slope-intercept form. So we're starting at negative 2, and the slope is down 2 over 3. So down 2 over 3. So we're going to do negative 2 over 3 as our slope, negative 2 as our y-intercept. And draw the perpendicular line that goes through the origin. So now we're going to start it here. And so the perpendicular would have a slope of 3 over 2. So I'm going to start at the origin. I'm going to go up 3 over 2, up 3 over 2. I'm going to go the other way. And there it is. So this question is now completed. And we could put a nice little right angle symbol in there. This makes a nice right angle. Write an equation that goes through the points 2, 3, and 2, 6. Well, if I notice here, the x value here is 2. The x value here is 2. This is a vertical line. As far as rise and run go, there is rise. We're going from 3 to 6, but there's no run. There's no left and right movement. This is just a vertical line. So being that this is just a vertical line, we can just write x equals 2. It's the equation of our line. You could graph that. So 2, 3, and 2, 6. It's this line right here. And you can see it goes through x equals 2. That's the equation. 15. Write an equation for the perpendicular to this line and going through the point 4, 0. So this is where anytime I'm writing an equation of a line and I don't have a graph, then I use point slope form. And I literally state, I'm going to figure out what is my slope and what is my point. The slope that I need is perpendicular to 3. So my slope is negative 1/3. The point I need to go through is 4, 0. And then from here, I plug into the equation. It's y minus the y value equals the slope times x minus the x value. Clean that up a little bit. We could call this negative 1/3 x plus 4/3, like that. That's how we could make that, turn that into a slope-intercept form. Alright, 16 and 17 get a little bit more tricky. In fact, I'm going to do this on a separate sheet of paper. Alright, it says, find each value of k for which this line and this line are perpendicular. So our first line, I'm going to call this L1. Our first line is this line right here. Y equals 9 kx minus 1. And therefore the slope of this line is right here. This is like your mx plus b. Okay, so the slope of the first line is 9k. The second equation, I'm going to call that L2, is kx plus 4y equals 12. So now let's find the slope of this line. So finding the slope of this line, we have to bring the kx over, and then we have to divide by 4. Like that. Which is, it would look something like this. Negative k over 4x plus 12 over 4. So I'm just doing some algebra there. And therefore the slope of the second line is negative k over 4. Okay. If these two slopes were parallel, they would be equal. So parallel would imply that 9k is equal to negative k over 4. But because they are perpendicular, that means that 9k is equal to the opposite reciprocal of negative k over 4, which would be 4 over k. So it's the opposite reciprocal. So this is the one I want to go with because I want perpendicular. This would be parallel, they'd be equal slopes. This would be perpendicular. So now I have to solve for k, which means I need to multiply this k over and then divide that 9 under, and now do the square root to get rid of the square of 4 and 9, which is 2/3. Actually plus or minus 2/3, actually. So plus or minus 2/3 for that one. That's the value of k. So whatever that is. And we can check that. So if I plug in 2/3, 9 times 2 divided by 3 is 6. And if I plug in 2/3 down here, 2/3 divided by, 2/3 divided by 4 would give me 2 over 2/3 divided by 4 is negative a 6. There, see? Perpendicular. 6 and negative a 6. So there you have it. It worked out. Example 17. Let's see what we got for example 17. I'm going to need just another more piece of paper here. The line AX plus BY equals 20. And it's perpendicular to this line and passes through this point. Find A and B. Well, being perpendicular to this means that the slope of this line is negative 2/3, and it passes through the point 2, 2. So I'm thinking point slope form. Y minus 2 is equal to negative 2/3 x minus 2. So there it is. There it is in point slope form. We need to now make it look like this. So we just need to, this is called standard form, when you have your x and your y together, and then this would be like your c. This is called standard form. Alright, so in that case, distribute. You know what? I'm going to do something different. I'm not going to distribute. Because if I distribute, I'm going to get some fractions going on here. So here's how you can do this without getting fractions involved. You can take the 3 and multiply it over. See what just happened? I took the 3 and multiplied it over and distribute it like that. And now I can distribute the negative 2. Now I don't have any fractions, so that's nice. And let's see here. I can take the 2 and move it over. And I can take this 6 and add it over. So there it is, except the goal was to make it equal to 20. I'm equal to 10. So what I need to do is take everything and multiply by 2 to give me 4x plus 6y is equal to 20. There it is. The answers were 4 and 6. The answers for A and B were 4 and 6. Okay, so I work through these fast, but you need to pause, rewind, do whatever you got to do so that you understand how I'm doing these problems. So that's going to be it for lines. There's a little info that you need to be able to do on your own. Like you'll see on the homework that there's just some review material that you're going to have to work out. There might be some modeling stuff, but this gives you the general idea of everything with a line and what kind of questions will be asked for lines. So with that said, enjoy.